Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I feel funny saying hope you're having a fantastic day when you have a terrible, terrible red day, but it's just the way it goes, right? You got to be happy in all markets, and that's okay. If you didn't short, no worries. Better opportunity for a potential long position. Adding to your bags, I got a lot of limit orders filled. I'm super happy with that. It's really not a bad day. Again, just depends on how you look at it and what perspective you have and what side of the fence you're on too, right? So we got to make sure we are on the right side of the fence. We're going to look at some liquidation data here. Look at it. This is yesterday before anything happened. Look how nice those charts are. Let's go ahead and refresh and see what's going on here. Oh, of course, timeout. Hold on. Let's go ahead and get back in here and see where we're at. So again, heavy concentration of liquidation at about 42,400. That is left to be hit. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. But if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, I hope you can learn something today. Obviously, you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tag is a site. We're having a great time over my community. Thanks again to my Discord communicators or just members, whomever you are. Deeply appreciate you. You're a wonderful part of my life. So we're going to take a look here at this here. Just to clarify, this is just the last 7 days of trading. We can see there's a heavy concentration of liquidation at about 42,000 even, still left to be swept. So heaviest concentration at 44,250. That was a previous fib level. And of course, we can see 43.5 as well, really close to 43.5 as a secondary. So all that being said, lower levels of liquidity have been fairly well swept, but there's still a larger one at 42. So keep in mind, we still have potential for the price action to continue lower. Okay, so just be kind of aware of that. Now, am I the kind of person to try to short right now when we're potentially at the bottom? I would say no, but there's still room for the price to continue lower. Just to clarify too, once again, 39,500. I've got a pretty heavy limit order right in that range, just based on the simple fact that there's a lot of liquidation at that price point. So if we do see the price come back down any further, that'll probably be the next target. I'm not a big subscriber to 35K as a potential area in which we are going to see the price pull back to, but again, different strokes, different folks. We'll have a different conversation if we hit that 40K mark. Okay, so again, all the more reason just to consider adding to your position as the price goes down. It's really kind of what I look at this as. This is more of an opportunity to get in before things get crazy. And the likelihood of this price action pulling back right now and it being a fundamental catalyst, a buy the rumor, sell the news type of situation, i.e. the news came out yesterday and the price has dropped ever since, it's no surprise. There's also this interesting little wick up here where the price shoots up, market movers trick everybody into a long position, the price goes down. Okay, so again, really standard stuff. I'm not surprised by it at all by this. Okay, so let's look at some big picture stuff. We want to kind of get some perspective on things because it's been, I usually look at the monthly once a month, but I think it might be good to revisit this here. Let's go ahead and pick up a different chart. Let's go with a older chart here. This is Bitstamp, is one of the oldest charts we got. And we're going to look at a couple of things here. So moving averages, just to clarify on this here, we've been above all three for some time. So still bullish in the overall sense. MACD is still converging, not losing any momentum. Stochastic RSI is topping out. So it's one of those things where it's hard to really get a read on if it's going to go down or up from here based on that. But again, it's this very, very slow moving average on the monthly. So once more, that being topped out does imply we could stay here for a little while. It also implies we could see a pullback, but unfortunately, with it being that high, it gives you some false positives there. But there is still more room for the price to go higher, if that makes sense. And now again, most bull runs, there's usually a halving first. So we do have the Bitcoin halving coming up. I would make sure to consider going heavy on longs at that point. Right now, this being a tentative bull market or quote-unquote bull market, it could still have its pullback. So try not to have this mentality like the sky's falling and we're just going to go down to zero. That's not the case. Totally fine. All right, just pump the brakes. Traditional RSI is in good shape. Money flow index is very high. We can see that. Again, a lot more interest in Bitcoin in the last few months. So that's why the money flow index is high. So the simple way to understand this here is that we have been able to close above the 0.5 fib level there at 42,240. Okay, so 42,200 is somewhat of a support level for us now that we've closed above that on the monthly. Or correction, we closed below that technically last month, but we're open and we're still above that this month. More so the fact that we have 19 days left in the month, we could very well change this here, but simply put, that's a tentative support here at 0.5 at that 42,200 mark. Hopefully, we're hoping to get a closure at 42,000 or higher this month. That's basically what we're looking for. We can see a pretty obvious rejection at 48,500. That is the 0.618 fib level on the monthly. So again, this whole scenario here basically tells us that we're potentially range bound between 42,200 and 48,500. Okay, So again, just some consideration there. Is this set in stone? No, it can totally change, but for the moment, we are above some important levels there, and that's a good sign. Okay, so we can see a little bit easier here on the weekly. Weekly, we're above all moving averages too. MACD is losing momentum, of course, over the last month, just because we've been significantly up in this level for some time. We can also see, of course, we're overextended a lot of time frames too here, specifically on the weekly. So again, a pullback would make sense. Okay. Am I speculating the price is going to drop to 30,000? No, I don't think we're going to see that price point again. I would actually welcome it because I would love to add to my position at that point, get some pretty heavy longs in there. But at this point right now, we can presume that our tentative support is 42,300 or 40. We're going to say round number 42,000, keep it simple. And then, of course, we want to pay attention to see kind of where we go from there. But the weekly and the monthly still look okay, but there is some telling signs that we're losing momentum on the weekly, which is no surprise. It's been bullish for quite some time here. I mean, if you take a look at TD sequential on the weekly, we are still in overtime, consolidating, looking for that reset. Okay, so again, pullback would make sense. But there's a lot of fundamental stuff going on too with the Bitcoin ETF pushing the price action higher to this level. Makes perfect sense, the price pulling back. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the daily. This is kind of where the normal stuff kind of filters in. Let's go ahead and double check a different chart here and kind of see what's going on. So this is an interesting chart, to say the least. We were, at one point, holding above the 20-day SMA, doing very well for ourselves. We're still honoring this ascending trend here so far, but once more, the trend and the moving averages typically run concurrent with each other, so with us losing that 20, there's a decent chance we could see the price continue lower. But again, this retest here, this level, we wicked down exactly 4 days ago to the same level and bounced. Okay, not saying it's going to be a double bottom per se, but we do have a tentative support level there at about 43,200. Having said all that, we're still above the 50-day SMA, not the worst thing ever. We were talking about the MACD previously not being a factor, but now it is. In other words, we can see the price action trying to pull back here with the MACD trying to diverge. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. We can also see the 50 on the RSI holding strong here so far. We got to give it some time to see. We break below that, we'll have a different conversation. But we haven't been below 50 on the RSI since October. Okay, to give you perspective, we've been fairly bullish this entire time. So to me, 50 on the RSI is kind of a big trend setter there, letting me know if I'm on the right side of the tracks or not. We are holding this level here so far. We'll see if it continues. But of course, stochastic RSI giving us the indication it wants to come down further. Big surprise, it's going to come down naturally because of the massive pullback we just saw. Okay, so again, today's trading day, just since yesterday's open, down 7%. It's a pretty significant margin for Bitcoin. Anything over 5% in the whole market just gets shooken. So again, interesting stuff, but not surprised by the least by this here. Okay, so that's the daily. Look at the 4 hour. Let's see if there's any kind of proof here telling us the price is going to continue. We are below 3 out of 4 moving averages. Again, a closure below this 200-day SMA would be a pretty big deal. So we're looking for 43,500 or higher today to be able to hold that trend line. That to me is somewhat of an important level. Same with 30 on the RSI. Getting a bounce here would be awesome. The problem that we're seeing here, though, is that money flow index is still high and the RSI is low. It's typically not a great sign. I prefer for the money flow index to be down here, and then we want to consider buying that dip. Right now, there hasn't been enough money flowing out of the coin, roughly. That's kind of what this is telling us. And with it being considered oversold, there's a decent chance we won't see a bounce as well as we'd like at this point. Stochastic RSI is trying to swing up, but it's kind of getting stunted out. MACD is picking up momentum, so there's really nothing here that's bullish on this chart. The key takeaway, though, is that you don't just take a trade based on this being like a bearish type of time frame, right? We look at everything, and so far, very large time frames are telling us we're still in good shape, but those are slow-moving averages. Same thing here with the 4 hour and the daily. They're kind of letting us know that we're shifting this momentum to the downside. Now, is that a specific, is the price just going to drop from here? Probably not, but it also could too, just based on, again, fundamental catalysts, which is another thing that I just do not love about trading. I don't really like trading fundamentals personally, but again, I prefer the charts to kind of speak to me. And unfortunately, with the way things are moving right now, this is absolutely one of those situations where it's not fantastic. Okay. So anyways, all that being said, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the price being more so bearish. We haven't lost any massive trend lines yet, but we're really close. Okay. And again, it doesn't just mean that just because we break or close below a certain moving average, we just instantly go short because of it. There's a lot of other factors, and we've got to kind of wait and be patient and see where the price is going to go next. I don't truly like to just jump right into a trade right now because it's overextended in either direction. I like to make sure that I wait for confirmation. And confirmation takes longer, by the way, to happen when you see price action move like the way that it did, okay? So again, please recognize that. You know, you're probably not going to see like me instantly just turn around and just open like 20 signals today because of the fact that we just are dipping, okay? You wait for confirmation, and that's just the way it goes. So any good trader will be more patient during these times than they will any other time. Having said all that, we have massive confirmation here that obviously we lost the cloud. No surprise there. We were testing that yesterday when I reviewed this last. Same thing with the lagging span, free and clear. We got probably good 12 hours, 12 to 24 hours before we see an intersection there. Kind of implying that if you have a short open, you want to leave it open. If you're considering a long position, you probably shouldn't. It's really what it boils down to. Now, I added to my spot bag earlier today. I set a lot of limit orders, each one of them at just $500 marks. So, for example, 43,000, 42,500, 42,000, 41,500, 40,000, 30, and basically what I do is I increase the amount of spot position that I'm trying to get into as the price goes lower. So yeah, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, it just keeps on going down, right? So hypothetically, there's different ways to do this here, but I would recommend considering adding to your spot bag. While yes, it is true that we may not be at the bottom, you never truly know where the bottom is, nor do you know where the top is, okay? So again, right now though, it is the market's telling us not to take a position. That's pretty much the simple way to understand it. So if you want to be a late short, by all means, go ahead. There is technically some merit to that. Once again, large concentration liquidation at 39.5, but more so recently, again, if we looked at the smaller time frames, there is that 42,200 mark where we could see one more wick down to that level, if not even further, okay? Very last thing I forgot to touch on here is the CME gap, of course. Let's see if I can find that here for us. I have it on the charts from before. Let's see here. So yeah, there it is. We'll just pull it out a little further. Once more, we got a CME gap here at this 39,300, upwards of 40,500. Okay, so that little guy is still haunting us here. Okay, so there's a decent chance we could very well see that still get filled at this point now that we're closer to 40,000. So again, sky isn't falling. If it comes down to that level, that'd be an awesome opportunity. I've got some really heavy limit orders in that range myself for my spot bag, but everyone, to each your own. So what are your thoughts? Let me know. Comment below. I'd love to hear it. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, regardless of how red the market is here today. Trust me though, folks, this is completely normal. Manipulation is a very standard thing. And once more, this is more of a fundamental catalyst, likely a buy the rumor to push the price action high and then sell the news, which we're seeing now. We're seeing a sell the news situation. And that's where we're at. All right, folks. Thanks again for watching. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Appreciate your time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.